Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, your mic will be all right. Don't worry.
Okay, we'll be good to go.
All right, stand by fireplace. Light the logs.
I think we're ready, man. Let's do this.
Yeah, we got 20 people. Hey, that's good. That's good. Oh, I guess we don't need these anymore.
Lose these, huh?
We're in the what are they calling it now? Purple, back to purple or something.
We're definitely purple.
So we're a little bit more locked down. So we got to keep the masks on, but we are a nice more than 6 feet apart. Oh, hey, I guess I'm hearing to myself. I better mute the feed there, huh?
Light the logs. I think we're ready.
There we go. Yeah, I forgot about that delay. That's pretty wicked. All right. Well, hey guys. Vincent and Erik here. We're doing a fireside chat. It's a little gloomy outside, so we don't get to show you the nice sunny California. So we decided, you know what? We did a thing last week for the Barco All-In. Thanks to everybody that joined that. It was a little bit more formal, a little bit more corporate, a lot more buttoned down, and we were like, you know, we need to have some fun.
Yeah,
one
for
more,
sure.
right? You know, kind of do our last one of the year. We might catch one more in December, but mostly I think this is going to be the last big one for the year. If you guys didn't know, I'm Erik Iversen. Across from me is Vincent Ayala. He's our lead sales support engineer. I'm the product manager for image processing, so the E2s, S3s, and our new little friend, the PDS4K. So today we're going to take you guys through a little bit about PDS. We'll probably have some random thoughts and conversations. If you guys do have some questions, do us a favor, put them into the Facebook comments there on the side, and we will try to keep up with them as we can. Keep in mind we're way multitasking here today, and if you send us a GIF, we're not hitting the play button on the GIF. So sorry, Benjamin, I have no idea what you just sent. But the video wall or firewall, I like that. Well, maybe we can do both. And Chris, I hope you can stay awake. Sorry, I take it you're not feeling well, or you're just really like fatigued like the rest of us from being locked up and cooped up. But anyway, I don't see any immediate questions. So what we're going to do today is go through PDS. I just flashed this thing with new firmware, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. So I'm going to find out what's going on with it
right before doors.
Absolutely, man. Is there any other way?
No.
We've got about ready to hit beta with version 8.1, and that's going to bring some it's another PDS release. Sorry guys, we got to get the PDS stuff out, kind of a little bit, get it finished up here and get a little bit more complete. The next release we're going to be doing that'll bring everything back together, kind of call it the family reunion, I guess. We'll have to do a family reunion. Ooh, we can have some fun with that video.
yeah, for sure.
We'll have to get stupid shirts with, you know, the Barco family reunion or something. But we'll be bringing E2, S3, and PDS back into the same family. So that'll bring a lot of interesting features. We're starting to flush that one out now. Like I said, 8.1 is in beta. So, well, internal beta. It'll be going out to our closed beta group. Those of you that know that. So there we go. We'll leave that at that. But probably hitting public beta mid-December. It's not really an E2 or an S3 release. It's the firmware is PDS only. But there are a few things in that new tool set you might find interesting on an E2 or an S3 level. You know, we purposely have it limited so it does not automatically detect anything E2 wise. I wouldn't use that tool set in a live environment by any means, but it does have some cool stuff with the simulator that you might want to play around with.
Oh yeah.
That we'll get to here later today. So Vince, what you been up to during this time and fun? I know your travel schedule is not what it used to be, neither is mine.
Yeah, I'm just hanging out, doing the working out thing, training and riding. You know.
Yeah, that's right. You're running like 80 miles a weekend or some craziness like that.
It's usually up in the high 20s. Yeah.
We made Vince eat today before the session, or
That's
he'd
right.
be way too grumpy right now to be on live camera.
So I'm happy to be here.
That would be funny too. But
it could be funny. Sometimes it's really bad.
We get some good grumpy cat shots from that one. I think.
That's true. That's true.
But anyway, I gotta say my Belgian chocolate supply is starting to dwindle, so I hope these travel restrictions ease soon, because I'm looking forward to getting back out, just like I'm sure everybody else is. I hope everybody else is doing well and finding things to do and keeping busy out there. I've seen some really cool stuff lately on Facebook. I know some folks have taken E2 and done some really wild kind of virtual sets. And what is that they're doing with, they're bringing, somebody tried to explain this to me the other day. They have a bunch of people dial into somebody that, like the E2 operator, with Zoom or something, and instead of using the Zoom interface, they're bringing it.
It's like a vMix
yeah,
combo.
Yeah, and then they're using E2 to like take all of a sudden HD's a thing again.
Yeah,
right. We're not like at this. Oh well, we're running out of stuff because of HD. So those 32 layers of E2 are coming in real handy, I think, for these types of meetings.
People are calling them Zoom farms.
Yeah, what's that all about?
It's pretty standard stuff where you just bring a bunch of Zoom calls into one E2. One of the most interesting ones I saw was a company out of Chicago. They did where they they used the multi-view. So
Interesting.
They brought in because we're web streaming out now, so it's like 30 frames a second acceptable. Crushed video is okay.
Oh
right?
yeah, I mean we're doing today what 720p?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
Exactly. But what they did was they brought in all like 60-something inputs, 60-something Zoom calls into one E2, and then use the multi-view output as a source.
So they're bringing those in as individual?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's like a one-to-one Zoom conference.
Exactly.
So why are they doing that instead of using the big interface?
Mostly because that's the path that they took when they first started. Instead of using something like WeConnect, where there's a lot of infrastructure, Zoom is kind of free, depending on how you approach it. But
because you were doing some demos with our new WeConnect stuff, right? Yeah, they've kind of altered that a bit, it seems, or improved it to handle the meetings a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly. WeConnect's cool because you can get like 6 people solid on one HD raster, a 3x2, right? 3 wide by 2 tall. Right. You can actually get it up to 8-ish, but we'd like to cap it at 6, and then you bring in multiple of those nodes. And then you can even take that in as a subset of the multi-view. So if you could if you did the math, if you did the multi-view side of it, 32 times 6 times, what is it? 32 times 6, all in one, all out of one E2.
That's
right?
a lot of noise.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's a nightmare for the audio guy, but.
Well, I guess that probably brings to light why they're doing some of that. Obviously, Zoom and these other softwares, they have a lot of AI in there trying to figure out who's talking and what to do and all that. But I mean, in the event space, you want control, right? I mean, that seems to be a good reason why they're bringing these things all in and compositing them in E2 is, we can pull this person out if we don't want to hear them, or we control what's happening on the screen, which that's what events are all about, right? I mean,
and when you bring in like WeConnect or even Zoom calls that are nested, like, because I've even seen nested Zoom calls, you get like chunks. So you could say, well, this chunk of 5 people, 6 people, you could boot that whole chunk if you have to.
Gotcha.
So it's been really fun. It's been really fun to see what people are doing out there and how creative the technicians are getting. It's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, some of our friends were doing some feeds for the U.S. Open this year. Now I don't think they were using a lot of our tech on that specific show, but they have this whole virtual set thing going on, and I believe it was Eurosport they have something they call the Cube, where it's a complete virtual set. They have kind of like what we have here. You guys can see we got our little wall behind us. They actually have proper expensive LEDs and stuff. Yeah, exactly. But they have this really flawless looking LED behind them, but it's like maybe a quarter or a third of the set, and then the rest of it's all virtualized. And they had tennis players in the U.S. and they had folks in Europe, and they were literally like using these green screen sets and virtualizing each other together. And the tennis player was all of a sudden standing next to the talent, and they're able to have these nice little conversations. And it was very interesting. They kept trying to do virtual high fives. It got close. I will give them credit. They did a way better job than I did last week with the trying to put my hands on the desktop that didn't exist.
Sure.
That was. I give these folks standing in front of green screens all the credit there is in the world, because that is, after having done it, that's tough. That is hard work.
For sure.
And a lot of practice, which of course we don't put into anything like today. This is 100% ad hoc, by the way, today. We really didn't rehearse. We just wanted to have a conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
And show some product. And as you can see, we put a lot of work into cleaning up the cables and dressing the set. We're being real here today, what can I say?
Also, speaking of that, if it looks like I'm distracted, it's because I am. I'm monitoring chat on my phone, so I'm constantly checking that. So if I seem like I'm paying attention elsewhere, it's because I am. Speaking of, Richard Gash, have you seen the 5,000 people Zoom conference with NDI, Resolume, and linked E2s from Asia? I have not personally, but I would love to see that. So if you could send me that in a DM, I would appreciate that.
There was another one from Richard that I see here. No, this is not Unicy. If this was Unicy, you wouldn't be seeing these big old black lines here. This is an old video wall that we have in our test setup, actually. This is part of our test lab. Now, Unicy is, I think, what, less than 1 pixel bezel? You would not see these.
Less than 1 millimeter.
1 millimeter, so yeah, you would not be seeing these big old black lines.
In fact, it's touted as bezel-less because it actually doesn't carry a bezel. Like you can see how this has a nice bezel.
Right.
What you see is one seam it's like the width of a piece of paper or like a very thin piece of plastic on each side. Unicy is actually a really nice product if you ever have an opportunity to check that out.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of those with E2s, actually. E2s and S3s with Unicy. Really nice one. I did one at an undisclosed location, putting some undisclosed things up on it at somebody's undisclosed house. Mm-hmm. They put a Unicy wall in their house with an E2. And
for somebody to play video games, right?
Could be.
That's
could
right.
Be,
I heard about that.
Yeah, so there's many uses for Unicy as well. It's fun being in the Barco family. We've got so many different things. We have this entertainment thing, which is what everybody's here to see, but I mean, medical and imaging and all these crazy things that you had no idea how much we are in your lives.
Yeah.
I mean, just today I saw one of our medical displays in use. I was like, wow, that's kind of cool to know we're doing that. So.
Yeah, to see that in the wild is pretty awesome.
Oh, it's crazy. Let's see here. I think that's got us caught up on the questions again.
Yep.
So, well, why don't we do this? Let's jump into a little demonstration time here. So we have in between us here I gotta make sure that I don't disconnect the wires as I slide around here. We have our new PDS4K. If you guys are unaware of the PDS4K, it is the replacement for the PDS902. And PDS, people keep, well, what's PDS stand for? Well, it's got a lot of different names. At one point, we had certain people that left the company and the switchers had their initials. We had the DCS. We had a sales director with those same initials, and he went on to do some amazing things. We had another sales guy. I think Chris Prozio is online. He probably remembers that one. We came out with the PDS, and another sales guy left. Luckily, I don't think there's any more PDSs in our sales team, so I think we're safe there. It's not bearing my initials, so I think I'm safe. But it's PDS,
like the curse.
It's if you ask, like the official, we came up with is professional digital switcher, but the way we really like to refer to it is pretty darn simple. It really is an easy-to-use switcher. It's not going to be something you're going to be blending with or doing crazy stuff. It is the, go to the freezer, get the box. Anybody can push the buttons and make it switch. That's what it's about.
Mr. Prozio did say the Paul Dumple switcher.
Yeah, I knew the name. I was just being polite, but okay. I guess if Chris wants to call him out, that's fine.
He put it out there.
Hey, that's all good. It wasn't me. But we like to call it pretty darn simple because that's what it is. Now, we've brought it along with the Event Master family. So this is running essentially the same code base that we have in E2. So some modifications, obviously, for the workflow. We have a fully functional front panel here with buttons for switching. So you don't have to use tool set. You don't have to use a controller if you don't want to. But you can if you want to. And it's really a neat little switcher when you hook it up to something like an EC30. You've got a lot of power here. If you guys remember the old Screen Pro 1604 days. I mean, you know, that was a 4 output box. This is a 2 output box. I guess you could call it the 1002 here. It's about your full screen switching, and you know, we've got 2 full 4K outputs. So we're running everything obviously not 4K today because well, we're going out to YouTube. So we're running
out
in
720p.
Yeah,
right.
we're outputting the switch is actually doing 1080 I think today, but
yeah. Well, the maximum for Facebook right now.
Facebook right now is still 720p. Yeah. So yeah, we're actually downscaling pretty much this entire show, just to let you guys know, which is why we use an E2 to do it. Why not? It's what we have. But I digress. With the PDS, we did want to improve a few things, obviously from the pre-902, 902.3G. Those were some workhorses. I mean, we sold a lot of those things. A lot of companies used the heck out of them. It was getting to the point where people were stacking 2 and 3 of them together and doing some special code and writing their own stuff with, what's that called, the little button box that everybody loves to use?
Octopus?
Not Octopus, the Stream Deck.
Oh, yeah.
People are writing a bunch of custom Stream Deck stuff so they control multiple PDSs and all that. Yeah. So when we started looking at this, okay, we got to have at least 2 outputs because, well, you know, you'll have to have that downstage monitor. You got to have the screen behind you. That's a minimum. Obviously, you can do 2 screens. We've done some stuff to give you a little extra output capability. So we've got some basically built-in DAs. So each output has 2 HDMIs and 2 SDIs with it, with the 2 processing channels. And I can maybe show you guys the back of it later if we switch over to that camera. We'll wait on that when we go full screen with the multi-view. But we also realized that, hey, you know, this thing is, let's keep it in the Event Master family. That way we have the GUI already, we have the controllers. There's no reason to start from scratch. And we also get to maintain that image quality you guys are used to, the low latency. It's not quite as low latency as E2 because it's not a gen locking system, just like the old PDS. You know, these are for simple shows. If you need to get into blending and gen locking and all that kind of, you know, making big LED walls, we've got the S3 or E2 for that. This is really about breakout rooms, small sessions. We're going to have some optional cards coming out later next year that'll give you some audio capabilities. So we'll have a card with DisplayPort and also with pass-through audio as well as Dante. So we're opening up into that network audio world. It's new for me. I got some learning to do. We're all going to have to go to Dante Network School here soon. But
it's easy.
Yeah, I'm sure the folks out there know that better than we do already. But that's going to bring us some really fun opportunities. But from the front panel, we've got, you know, same display that we use on Image Pro 4K. Now, we're not previewing the video there because it starts getting a little bit weird of which video do we preview and all that. And we didn't want to do a whole lot of matrixing and craziness there. Keeping it simple, you know, got the same knob for adjust, click to get into the menus, very simple in that sense. We, by popular demand, brought the escape button back. We were just going to go with a menu escape, but you know, we've got some folks in back that do the testing that really pushed for that escape button. So you know, we did that for those guys, and I think kept them happy. But then the neat thing about the PDS, you'll notice we don't have the click sound that we used to have, right? We've gone to a lower profile, quieter button. It still has a detent. You can still feel the breakover. You can feel the click, but you don't hear the click, which, you know, we're starting to see folks use these things on stage, presenter driven, you know, don't want a lot of ratchety, clickety stuff like that.
It's worth noting, though, that they are still mechanical buttons.
Yes, I always forget that. Thank you very much. That they are actual switches, not membrane or whatever that other stuff is that is not a real button. No, these are actual, you know, closure switches. They do have a travel. It's a short travel, but they do have a travel.
Yep.
We also wanted to get into some extra color. I know not everybody in the industry can see color as well as I can, but so hopefully the folks that are color challenged don't get a little lost here. But we have a green to indicate preview that's also flashing, a yellow to indicate signal present. So you'll see I have 2 yellows here.
If we cover up the lighting,
yeah, maybe you can see it a little bit better there. Yeah, I guess we got lighting's a little too good today. So red here is showing us that we have no signal. You can maybe see the red there. And then of course we got blue for freeze, so I can do a freeze and you'll see the blue. If I have something selected on program, it would turn blue. And then of course we have our take buttons. Top row, output 1, bottom row, output 2. This can all be customized if we want to. So you can go in and set both of them to output to top row if you want both outputs switching simultaneously, or keep them separate. And really, again, if it takes you longer than about 2 minutes to teach your presenter how to use this thing, he really probably shouldn't be presenting or switching. Might need to get his assistant to help him. But switching the thing is really easy. It's select the source, transition. You want to switch 2 screens at once, you select the sources, and you press both buttons to transition. You can see there in our little inset that we've got the multi-viewer up. This does come with a multi-viewer to show both previews and programs. So where the original PDS 902 was just previews, this one's showing you both.
Or you could hijack it for a screen destination.
You probably could, I guess. You could make a third interesting windowed something or other if you want. With the multi-viewer, the other thing we were thinking of is be a very interesting downstage monitor. So if you had like a couple things you wanted to show, you could put those down there. They already have labels on them. So it could be your presenter monitor if you don't have an operator. Yep. So again, it's an additional third kind of screen that's customizable that you can use.
Rack something up, let's see it in the multi-view again.
Yep, so if we go to our SDI source, this is that little camera right here. You can see that in preview. Maybe take the multi-viewer full screen.
Yeah, you got it.
Then folks can see our really crazy setup we have here too. So, I've got them selected in preview. I can transition each screen independently, obviously. Sorry, I didn't get a whole lot of sources in here, but we do also have still stores that we can load. We can either load them as a logo, which would be an unscaled channel, or we can take them into the scalers. So these are full 4K scalers. Again, we're running the normal 12-bit processing, all that good stuff in here, and so we can either scale your logo and mix it like we are the rest of the sources, or we can go to use it as an unscaled logo to transition that way. So if we wanted to transition our screens together, we just have both selected, and of course transition them both together. Now you can use this with your Stream Deck stuff. I believe all the JSON code is the same.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple things that might be slightly different, but nothing major. It's all documented. It'll be documented in the manual.
Yeah.
But for the most part, this thing is Event Master.
Well, Telnet still works, which is
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
That's the most common one. Normally the folks that use the Stream Deck, if I remember correctly, don't use the JSON commands as much as they use the Telnet. So you got your -R, your -S, excuse me, -R, -A. Yep. Callouts. So they still work. It's good stuff.
Well, and not only that, but you also have the ability to do the web page. So I'm just making a preset while we're talking here real quick, and this is just something for us to play with. So here's kind of a couple still stores that I popped in, and then go back to my live inputs. By the way, full Event Master toolset compatibility, so I can program this. Write presets. We'll also be able to, this is live. We'll actually be able to bring these up on the front panel and map them to the front panel as well. So we got some. Oh, it's working. It helps if I mirror my displays because I forgot I'm presenting.
There you go.
You know, hey, we're a little out of practice. Duplicate the displays. I haven't been doing any live demo stuff. It's all been PowerPoint recently, and kind of got used to that dual output, one thing for the screen, and then having my little monitor view there. So yeah, gotta remember what we're doing. So you can see the tool set here, but what's really cool I wanted to show you guys is in the web view.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you can actually go here to presets, and here's the 2 presets that I just programmed. So, you know, I can recall that preset, and it'll pop up and then do an all trans, and now that preset will transition on the system. So I don't have to have front panel available to somebody. I could literally use a Wi-Fi router and put it on my cell phone. So this could be on the presenter's cell phone. They could have their 6 presets they want to be working with, different things on different screens, and very simply recall stuff without having to program anything from a special interface or anything like that. This is also, I mean, this has been there for quite some time on E2 and S3. It's one of those things I like to remind folks about, because I think we forget all the cool little things that are in here. You'll notice that we also have this new tab, though, Q, that will allow you to also put cues into the web panel.
Yeah.
Imagine having a cue on your cell phone now. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff there. Turn the room on.
Yeah.
I mean,
Turn the projector on.
Mm-hmm.
Trigger your what do you call that? The dowser.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now, quick question. It's curveball.
Mm-hmm.
I heard somewhere along the line we were going to secure the web UI.
Yes, so there is a way, I don't think it's in PDS currently, but in E2, I think on 7.1, if I remember correctly, you can go into the front panel and actually fiddle with it, and you can lock out certain things, either allow access to toolset or not allow full access to toolset. And I think also the same thing with the web UI. There's also, if you go to a browser, you type in the IP address of the unit, and I believe it's /presets, gives you a dedicated web page that's just the presets.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have all the other stuff here with the dashboard and the tools and all that. So yeah, just some fun little things. Maybe we'll go back to our full look, or that. Didn't we create something with the tool set, the preview, and the? There we go. Yeah, that one. Now we can actually see up
also,
close.
Scott Gershik, who is a product specialist for us, awesome guy, reminded me that web app lock is available on the PDS.
Oh, it is? Okay,
yes.
I wasn't sure if we'd gotten that one in yet or not. So there we go. Scott.
Well, it's always a challenge. Scott's like on board with the timing of it, but we see the products and we see the features coming like 3 releases out, and so it's like, well, which one was that on? Is that 7.1 or 7.2 or, you know?
Well, and I'll be honest, I'm not quite as, now that Scott and Abba, between those two, they're really handling a lot of the day-to-day release stuff. I'm you know, like you said, I'm a couple releases ahead already. I'm thinking of what's going in 9.0 right now, and so trying to remember what we put in 7.1 or in 8.1 for that matter.
Right.
I have to go in and look. I got to fiddle with it. Go, did it make it, or did we have to push that feature?
Kind of gets jumbled.
Exactly. So here we're just kind of showing you guys. We got a couple different looks here. What Vince has pulled up here is the tool set. We also have the multi-viewer in the top right, and then of course the front panel. And Vince is playing with our camera here. So if we preview our camera, you can see our less than desirable set here. Yeah, we've been collecting some things over the last few months. We've commandeered a SLR. I've been throwing my GoPro in here. We got some lights finally.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, boy, that makes a big difference. Yeah. So we're hoping to be cranking out a few more videos here for you guys. But there's a good view of the front panel. You can see all the different colors happening here. And then, of course, the menu functionality. Now, one of the things that PDS does, the PDS4K that we added, is an automatic setup feature. So this is really cool for walking into a breakout room, plug everything in, don't know what necessarily resolutions are going to be. You hit factory reset. It'll blow away all the stuff that was in there before. Now, I just loaded some still stores, so I'm not going to do that. I don't want to lose my still stores after all. But it'll blow away all the presets, whatever is left over from the last show. And then after it's done the factory reset, it runs an automatic setup sequence. Now we can actually do the auto system setup from the front panel here. When you come into the front panel menu, I don't know if you can see that or not, but in the front panel menu here, first menu item is auto setup. Now auto setup will run the same routine where it goes out and it'll check your outputs. It'll look at the 1A output and the 2A output, grab the EDIDs, and then based on those EDIDs, it'll take the highest resolution EDID, we kind of assume that's going to be your primary screen, I hope. Now, if you're using the 4K as your downstage monitor and the HD projector, well, you may have some manual work to do, but it's really there to kind of help you along. Assuming the highest resolution, it'll set up the system on the output, so your HD screen will have HD, your 4K screen will have 4K, but then it'll also, somebody's in the back making noise there. What it'll also do is set up your EDIDs for you. So it'll program all of your input EDIDs based on that highest resolution, assuming that that's your best screen. And then of course, if your computers can handle it, well, not all computers will play ball, but we'll at least provide the EDID that says, hey, we can handle this high resolution. That's the first menu item. The next thing down, you notice there's not a lot of menu items here in the top level. We're trying to keep it simple again. We have the auto system setup, AV settings. This is going to be the input menu, the output menu, multi-viewer, still stores, management, and that's it. Very simple.
That's it for now.
Well,
yeah. AV settings.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah. There is the A part of that whole thing that will be coming. We're expecting that new card next year. That's a card that goes into the back side of this thing. Oh, actually, we got our camera up. Maybe we can show the
here. I'll take care of that.
back side of the system there. So, if you guys look in the, sorry, I'm going to make you do this full screen on the multi-view, then they'll be able to see that a little better.
Full screen on the multi-view. You got it.
There we go.
Right there.
Nice. So you can see the back of the system there. I've got actually an SDI connection coming in. That's doing a 1080i. We've got the HDMI on the bottom here. So there's 8 inputs on this system right now, 2 SDIs, 6 HDMIs. This little slot here is where that new option card is going to fit in. That'll be a user upgrade, so that's in field. It actually ships from the factory separate. So you get your unit, you take the top off, you drop that in, you ditch this old panel, you put in your card, and now you've got a full audio capable PDS ready to go. Then of course you have your output section. You notice each HDMI is married to a SDI connector as well. So those are outputting the same thing, provided, oh, excuse me, Chipotle's talking there. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to kill those of you on headsets. The outputs there, it's a repeated output when the timings will work. So most of the HD and 4K HDMI timings will work with SDI and vice versa. There's a couple, I think 720p is one of the oddballs that SMPTE and Visa don't, or CEA don't agree on, but everything else you should get output on both of those. Each collection of 4, so you see the 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. 1A and 1B are on the same processing channel. So that's the same scalar chip or scaling channel, destination, if you will, so those 4 outputs will all have the same thing on them. And then the 2A, 2B outputs they'll have their own separate picture as well. So these 2 processing channels can run completely independent. So if you want to run HD on one and 4K on the other, 50 hertz on one and 5994 on the other, totally up to you. That's your choice. And of course we have the HDMI output for the multi-view there at the end. So that's kind of the general scheme of the back of things. We'll just switch us back to the pink computer here. Now I do have some still stores in here, so I'm going to go into the AV settings and we can see what our still stores are. So we can either capture live from an input, or we can select something that's like the Barco 2018 Christmas, or something that's shot at a sunset or something. You can also name things, delete them, import from a USB stick. So if you have them on your USB, pop it in here. import right there. Don't have to even open up the computer to get to this stuff. So it does make it really easy to get to. When we get into maybe you want to use this with a small LED wall up to 4K. I guess that's not so small these days. Well, the way the pitch is getting, 4K is getting pretty small.
Right.
Yeah, you're talking about a 1.2 pitch 4K wall. That's not much. Probably about the same size as the wall we have here. Not much bigger, maybe a little bit, but. So with the LED setup, you get the things for the sizing. So you get the wall sizing, setting your AOIs, the test pattern that identifies tiles and all that good stuff, and of course the scaling mode, whether you want to do a center cut or an all, you have the options there. And then of course in system, this is where we can choose things in the operation menu, how we want to run the panel. So we can set up the front panel, we can choose what's doing what on the rows, and of course we can also program the source buttons, which is what I was going to show you here. I'm going to come into this number 2, and instead of looking at the HDMI inputs, I'm going to give it a SDI. So now my camera is right here next to my computer. You can also go in and unmap things. As long as I don't fat finger it. So if you go not mapped, notice the light goes off, so I can create some space here and not confuse my presenter. Then maybe I want to put in a still store, so they're at the end of the list here. I can also look at the other destination. So, what's that?
Presets too, right?
Presets can be mapped as well. Yeah. That is a separate operational mode, though.
That's true.
So we have 2 different operational modes. One is screens,
which,
good question actually, allows us to switch on the screens, the full screen images and all that. And then there's preset mode, where we then program the front panel for presets. And you can select a preset from the front panel and do that. We'll get to that in just a second. What I want to do here is get a still store punched in here. So there's one still store, and there's the other. So we could also put a destination in there. So if I wanted to have one thing look at the other and just be a downscale. So say I'm doing a 4K screen, but I need a downscaled version of that program output for a HD record.
Right.
Instead of having to switch that separately, I can just point it at that destination and have that source cruising along.
Like sub-switching an aux.
Yeah, exactly.
Or sub-switching a destination.
Pretty much. You can unmap everything if you want to get crazy.
Jason asks, can we do this mapping adjustment in Event Master toolset?
Not yet. We are looking at being able to do that. We see some good reasons there for that, obviously. Where you want to do the setup quickly here as your expert operator, and then hand it off to somebody else to.
Well, a lot of us know Event Master toolset like the back of our hand.
Absolutely.
And would rather run and gun with toolset.
I'm with you. We've intentionally not put everything in the front panel for that reason. So for instance, pips. You will not have ability to do anything with pips really from the front panel.
Yeah.
That's all going to be about Event Master toolset. And my computer went to sleep. There we go. Trying to do pip functionality from the front panel would be a nightmare. So
it was challenging with the original.
Oh my gosh, I think that
PDS.
it didn't get used a lot because of that.
Yeah.
It was very set and forget. Where here we'll be able to actually program them into presets and then recall them. We'll see how that runs here in just a moment. So now that I've got this programmed, I can literally select my logo and take it straight up, put it in the front here, easy to get to. And you saw we also had things like display brightness and diagnostics, all that good stuff. Also in system, you have your HDCP settings, your Ethernet, backup restore, firmware. So all those things are now kind of underneath the menu instead of cluttering up our top level menu here. We have a whole menu for resets. That's just for various factory resets and everything else. So PDS is one of those things where we run out of stuff to talk about when we're talking front panel because it is that simple, right?
Right.
It's like, wow, okay, have I touched pretty much everything? Well, yeah, I kind of have. I didn't get into logos, but that's pretty self-explanatory stuff. But I think what folks want to see. What do you want? What do you really want to see?
I mean,
it's not front panel. Right?
No.
It's
tool set.
No, I mean, let's face it. This crowd's not. They're advanced users.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we go to the group first, right?
Right.
So I think maybe we can talk about what we're doing in tool set here.
Okay.
So in the tool set, you get the PDS. You kind of have a nice little representation in the background. It looks very similar. Oh, we've come to our first thing, Vince.
Our first Easter egg.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hold on now. This is one of my favorite ones that I'm looking at for 8.1, right? 8.2.
8.1.
8.1. See, I did it again.
I know. I'm doing it too.
8.1, and it's. Explain the feature to me one more time, Eric.
Well, all right. So here's the way it used to be.
Those that were quick would have seen it. Right?
So here's the way it used to be, right? That looks like normal EventMaster toolset. We have our destinations, we have our outputs. We can come down and see the destinations and what's going on with them, your output, your inputs, your custom formats. Oh, nope, not yet. Custom formats are not yet available, but it is something that we are working on for PDS in the future.
The point is the tab
It's
shifts.
moving.
It's moving.
It's moving.
Right? It's not anchored.
It's not anchored, right.
That's right.
So we're going to be changing this nomenclature, I think, but we're now turning on the new feature. And what do you notice? Well, they stay put. And I know this has been something a lot of people have been asking for, where they found the moving tabs a bit confusing, hard to track. So we've got the ability to keep it the old way or to have it the new way. I'm very happy I found the button to go back to the old way sometimes, because I got a little lost a few times of where is it, because I got so used to it moving around. But now all your stuff, including in the programmer, everything will be anchored. So when you select that layer, all these tabs won't be jumping around on you. They'll stay put.
Not by default. By default, it exhibits the original behavior.
No, actually. By
Oh,
default,
really?
it shows the new.
Other way?
At least that's the way it powered up on mine. I just installed this tool set, and it came up with that turned on.
Okay, sounds good. I love it. I prefer it that way.
Yeah. We also, back in the setup menu, you've got your PDS4K. You've got your, what's in use. New tab, simulator. So this is kind of taking, remember you used to have to launch the separate simulator. You had to go to our late friend's awesome website that would build just the XMLs and all that stuff. But we've now, the software team has gone in and actually incorporated that into the tool set, so it's all one thing. So I can come in and say add frame. I can pick what type of frame. Now remember, I was saying before, you don't want to use this GUI necessarily with 7.1 and an E2, but it's a neat place to do some simulation. I can actually come in here and say, all right, I'm going to do an E2 Gen 2. I'm going to then hit my little explode it button. And now I have the back of an E2 Gen 2. But I really want maybe not so much DisplayPort, but more SDI. So now I can change my cards kind of on the fly here. Maybe we want to take that guy out and replace him with, where am I at? Where's my output? There we are. Sorry, I'm still learning it too with DisplayPorts. This already has the Gen 2 multiviewer, so we're not going to change that. If you haven't picked up an HDMI 2.0 card,
for the multi-view alone,
at least go buy one of the output cards for the multi-view alone.
Yeah.
I realize, we're all strapped right now. I'm not saying right now, but once you have the means, what is it Ferris Bueller said? If you have the means, I highly suggest you pick one up. Vince is using it here for us. The Gen 2 multiviewer is just awesome. I mean, you get 4 multi-view outputs, all independently programmable. Not to be pitchy here, but yeah, it's definitely an improvement. You get
It's
full
worth
4K. It's totally worth it. And well, you can get really good deals right now. I'm telling you. Just a little bird told me.
Yeah.
So anyway, we can program this guy for what we want it to do, and then I can just do a reset and launch simulator, and then we cross our fingers, and now it's launched. Allow it access so it can actually talk to me. And it's up and running. So now in use and discovered, you'll see you don't get to see it. Well, that's because we're hiding it. In this version of Toolset, we do not automatically discover E2s and S3s. That's a protection of some of our, how do they put that? Low information operators, I guess, would be a polite way to say that. That's what they say about people when they vote, right?
Kind of beginners, right?
The beginners, the folks that have not had experience on Event Master, they're just dipping their toe in, which is going to be a lot of folks with PDS.
Yeah.
We want to make sure, at least for 8.1, they're not going to be getting into the wrong stuff here. So.
But if you knew the IP address.
Right. You can figure out how to get into it. And I happen to know that if I look at this IP address right there, 192.168.0.20, I didn't just close that, did I? No, good. I should be able to come over here and go to this. And voila. I have my...
Maybe.
Steady, lads, steady.
Look, it's beta. Right? Come on,
yeah,
forgive us.
Beta. It is beta. And I may not have found the right IP address, but anyway.
Yeah, it might be operator error. It might be.
I can just about guarantee it's going to be operator error in this case.
Look, anyway, built-in simulator. It's awesome. We love it.
Absolutely. Not only that, but you can. Here's the kicker. Once this is in their hands and not ours, let's add another frame.
Oh,
let's
linking systems, you say?
Another E2 Gen 2.
So we don't have to go back to the virtual box simulator and create 3 different boxes.
We can go up to 4 systems simulated in the toolset.
Wow, beautiful.
And I'm sure that if I've totally said that wrong, Scott's correcting me right now in the chat. Hopefully I got that right, Scott. Yeah, I should be able to launch a second simulator and have it not show up because I'm doing something wrong. But
I think one of the other questions is will it have the ability to output the tar.gz?
I don't remember. I should know that.
Maybe Scott can tell us.
I honestly should know that, but I do not remember. But anyway, one of the neat little things that we've added to the tool set. Once we have public beta, you guys will all be able to play with that. Check it out. Send us your feedback in beta. I can't stress enough how important it is to get your beta feedback. That is how we make sure that things come out as bug-free as possible. Yes, I know it's never bug-free. That is an impossible thing. You guys touch so many more devices and scenarios than we could ever recreate in our little space. But that's why that beta testing is so important to us, and we do take everything you guys send to us very seriously. Actually, your bugs get more attention than anything Vince or myself or even Scott, well, maybe not Scott, but definitely anything more than what internally we report. If it comes from a customer, it does get top priority. So know that we do listen. We may not always get back to you the fastest to tell you that we got your bug, but we're definitely, it's probably because we're working on it, so. Yeah. Now, of course, those that have been looking at PDS going, well, that's cool, but, you know, I can't make pips. Like, well, you know, we've got some new functionality there. As I mentioned before, we have this scaling mode of all versus center cut. That basically, if your aspect ratio doesn't match your output, so if your input is 4:3 and your output's 16:9, I feel for you if you're doing 4:3. Really, I do. Or if you have a camera like Vince's that.
Hey, hold up now. That thing was.
But we could use that.
That thing was amazing.
But the picture's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But we could use this center cut to actually fill the image, chop off a little bit of top and bottom probably, and away we go. Actually, maybe not, but anyway. That was already doing 1920, 1080 output. But say you got that 1920, 1200.
Yep.
This definitely will make that fit on your 1920, 1080 display. So center cut, just like our auxes on E2, it'll expand it until it hits all edges filled, where it won't stretch, but it'll overshoot. And of course, it's like preserving the aspect ratio. But now we have, okay, we have to stop and go to Facebook for a second. This is almost like a poll question. Who remembers the Encore?
Or the Screen Pro 2 for that matter.
Actually, even better, Screen Pro 2. I think that's even probably a better one. So
who out of the 22 people that are watching us remember?
I'm surprised 22 people are still with us. I haven't bored them
sure.
to death. But,
but look, we're gonna look. The purpose of this is for posterity as well, so we can get the recording up. But if you do remember the Screen Pro 2, there was a split layer function, right? Very similar to single versus mix layer, sort of similar to the single versus mix, but it wasn't quite as advanced, right? I mean, so please tell us about that.
So let me jump off the Facebook here. So what this does is it brings back into the PDS. Now I know as soon as we talk about this, everybody's going to want it for E2. We have to take a look at that a little bit further. This it does have its own level of complexities, and PDS is a simpler box than E2. It only has 2 scalars per destination. Also, we don't do all the keyframes and all the color tricks and as much of the craziness as we do in E2. So this is a little bit more limited subset, but we can go ahead and go to scaling mode custom. So the first thing that does is allows us to make that custom scaling. So now I can create a little pippity doodah onto a background. That background, let's go live here. Why not? We can go to a matte, put it on a yellow background or something. I can even, now we're getting to the extent of what we can do here, right? I can turn on a border. And I'm pretty sure all I have is, I wonder if that's supposed to work or not, but it works, so we'll go with it for now. Normally we would have a hard edge border. Shadow, you'll notice I can't get to shadow. Shadow doesn't work on PDS. You don't get drop shadows on PDS, we only get the borders. So we can create that, nice little, 50 pixels is maybe a bit much. Let's trim that down to, I don't know, 15.
Let's go with this
pixels.
preset. We get a little bit more.
There we go. Yeah, a little bit more about what's going on.
More room.
So we've got our pip action happening here. We can move things around. In preview, I can even create another pip. Come on. Oh, helps to turn them to custom. You'll notice that each layer now has its own setting for the scaling. So you can either do custom on both, or you can have one on custom and one on set to all. I just realized I put a really big border on that thing. I must have mistyped something. Come on, 15. Yeah, okay, you're going to be stubborn, eh? The joys of not quite beta software.
Yeah, hey, look, stuff we got to work on, that's all.
Do not fear the beta. So now we can kind of do that. Okay, put the pip there, put the pip there. It can be back into being a mixer, so now we can mix inside of that space. But now is where it gets really fun. We'll lock program again. I'm going to go from my layer mode being mix to singles. And now we can do a little, okay, what's going on? I should be able to, yeah, I know, but I'm stuck.
Well, look, hey, okay, so beta software, we're running up against maybe some challenges that we need to work on, but that's okay.
Yep.
The point of this is that that we'll have eventually in 8.1, we'll have the ability to do.
Oh no,
layer.
I'm just an idiot. You know, when you sit in front of the spreadsheets for too long, you forget how to operate. There we go. Now I have my 2 pips. Looks like we can see it there on program, 2 pips next to each other. We also have the ability to put a still store in that background there. So I could take our sunset. And there we go. Two pips on a still store background.
That's awesome. I mean,
That's probably the most major piece of this for 8.1 is these pips. But of course, being able to save that into a preset from preview. Then comes the fun. We come into the front panel, and instead of being in screens mode, we go to presets. And now I can come in and map our first preset, our second preset, and our third preset. So I can recall it. If you'll look in the multi-viewer, you'll see that it says preset ready. I know you can't probably read that right now. That green overlay is telling you the preset's ready. In circumstances where our layers are tied up, as you Encore operators know, we have things called resource conflicts. Well, they're going to exist here too because we have 2 pips, and if you try to change sources in those 2 pips, you might hit some conflicts. Well, we have the resolution here in PDS. You don't have to confirm. What we do is we go ahead and load up preview, but we don't actually load up preview. So we say, okay, we're ready. Then when you hit transition, we do a load and go. So it's like doing presets to program essentially. So I can select it. If it's possible, it'll load it. If not, you'll get the preset ready. When you hit take, then it'll execute that preset and transition it.
Yep.
So I can bounce between my 3 presets. And hey, we crashed it. Awesome. This is why we do beta testing.
That's all right.
So while the unit's recovering itself, oh, I hit yes, didn't I? Shoot, that's going to take a minute. If the application on the unit does happen to crash, like it did with me just now, there's 2 options it gives you. Option number 1, yes. Option number 2, no. The question it's asking you is, would you like to save the logs? So we do have a little bit more logging here that we've got in PDS. So you can either save the logs from that crash or not. If you have time, hit yes. It's going to take about a minute to process all that. If you're in the middle of the show, hit no, so you can get back to the show, because it will reboot the application. It'll be up and running quite quickly. Generally, you don't have to reboot the whole box. So it's writing the first one now. It's writing the second. Okay. So it will take a second for it to come back up. And yeah, I know.
That's all right. We're running out of time anyway.
We're going to catch some smack on this anyway.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we are kind of getting towards the end of it here. As far as tool set goes, the other thing that we wanted to show, I have to have a unit connected. But if you pop up my tool set real quick, I can show it to you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, where are we? Tool set.
There we go.
There you go.
So you'll notice a little button at the bottom here that says swap LCD text / background color. So we had some of you that said, hey, in certain viewing environments, it's really hard to see with that, regular dark text on the glowing button. Can we flip that around? And the answer is, thanks for throwing another log on the fire, Vince. Appreciate that. Yeah, that was our timing for, hey, we're almost done, right? So if you hit that inverse, what that's going to do is it's going to turn the background dark and, of course, write the text in light. So you'll just see, well, I mean, it won't black it out completely, but you'll see brighter text and a darker background instead of dark text on top of a light background. Well, hey, units come back. It's recovered. We can tell the multi-viewer is happy there. And it's going to come back in just a second, I think. It's acquiring right now. It must be in its middle of its restart cycle. Yep, it's restarting. This is why we test before we send it out to you guys. But we have a unit back up and running. So in the controller, again, we can use the EC30 and EC50 with the PDS. I believe the EC210 may work with it, but it hasn't been tested yet. So,
Mr. Andreas said, send a copy of the log files to E2 at barco.com and we'll be all over it.
Oh, he's throwing my own words back at me.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we go. So now we have, we can map to the console our presets. So we'll put our pips here. Whoops. You can tell I have been behind the desk for too long. I'm slow. I got to get back out and start seeing people. So we have our three things there. So if we go invert, you'll see that now the text will go dark and then it'll be bright where the letters are. So if you're in a dark room or something like that, that could help. Maybe even outdoors. And it does follow color. So if I have, for instance, sources, I'll just do an auto map on the sources. You'll see that you get an inversion of the text there. Normally it would look like that. Invert there. Unfortunately, we didn't get a console hooked up today to show it for real, but that's one of the other cool. Oh, I didn't quite get my mic covered in time there, but that's what I get for letting you convince me to have Chipotle for lunch.
Hey man, Chipotle is life, okay?
Oh, it is. Oh, that was nice. No, we're not getting paid by Chipotle. But if they want to send some over, we'd be happy to test it for them.
Right.
Well, that was. Trying to remember, yeah, that was pretty much what's going on with PDS. We've got your pips in now. We've got the...
You've got your pips in with 8.1, which is coming...
With 8.1, which will be coming probably towards the end of December. Depends on how bad that bug I just found is and how long it takes to fix. Yeah, we want to make sure they're not crashing on you guys. But hey, it's all family here. We're willing to let you guys see a little bit of oopsies to give you guys the sneak preview. And with 8.2, that's going to be a fun video. And we're going to need to get some extra gear for that one because it's going to be pretty cool. We got some fun stuff there. PDS is available now. It's shipping. I'm sure our sales guys, even if you don't want to buy anything, give them a call. They'd love to talk to you, I'm sure, see what you're doing. We'd love to hear from you guys as well.
See how you're doing.
How you're doing as well as what, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird times, man. I've been on this planet for 49 years, and it's a first for me. I've traveled in different parts of the world when they had things similar to this, but never at this level. So be safe, please. Be safe. Whatever your version of safe is, be it. Hope those of you, if you are having problems, get well soon and safe recoveries. Any final words, Vince?
Just one correction.
Uh-oh.
Aside from the be safe stuff and the love, there was one correction. The controller LCD invert feature will not be in the 8.1 release. But
okay.
Almost everything you saw,
will be.
Almost everything you saw here will be in 8.1, and it will be rock solid. And thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. And if you're watching this at a later record, thanks for watching. And if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to reach out to us at e2@barco.com or reach out to your regional sales manager, who then can reach out to the pre-sales team. And, we're here to help, however we can.
Let's see, I'm just double checking, make sure there wasn't any other questions. Yeah, Scott confirmed 4 VPs can be linked in the new simulator.
He did, and also no tar.gz coming out of that yet.
Not,
but you can export XML like you could the classic simulator.
Okay.
But the other side to that is if you do need the tar.gz output, then you're going to need to go to the VirtualBox sim, which can be a handful, but is also extremely helpful and accurate. So please feel free to reach out, or please feel free to use that. And if you missed the video, I think we did the 4 quarantine videos back in April or May or something like that. If you missed those videos,
been a while, hasn't it?
It has been a while. I was just watching those the other day. If you missed those and you're really curious about how to link those videos or something, or how to link those virtual sim boxes, please reach out to me through Facebook, through e2@barco.com, and I'll send you the link to the video. We can't publish it. We can't publish it live like a live video, but I can send it to you. So
excellent, excellent.
Happy to do that.
And if it's raining, find a fire, warm up,
for sure.
and hope all of you guys have great holidays and make it through 2020. And looking forward to 2021. And we might come back with something in December. We'll see how things go, but definitely in mid to late January, when we get closer with the next release, we will definitely be back to another one. And I think we still have a 8.1 normal video to shoot. That you'll be giving all these things correctly instead of the ad hoc way we just did. But,
absolutely. What we call those, the semi-annual, or we do 4 of those, 3 or 4.
They're the release videos.
Release video, right. We're going to do that.
Exactly.
Cool.
Excellent. Well, thanks guys for your time and joining us. And again, like you said, questions, e2@barco.com, or hit us up on Facebook. And take care, be well, and be safe.
Thanks guys. Take care.